Here we go. Let's start with D4. Ula chess, 2004. Okay. See what he's got. We're going to go for a Queen's Gambit. Oh, he plays the Marshall defense. The Queen's Gambit declined. Marshall defense. Not a good defense. Let's see how he plays it. He doesn't try anything exotic. He just lets me gain the tempo. He's got some trick here he likes to play. Okay. So if I put the bishop here, he takes, I take. He still has to move his knight. And I've got a good bishop here. So I could give a check immediately, but he can block with c6 or bishop. d7, I don't think that accomplishes much. He has knight. He does not have knight. Does not have knight to c4 because I control that square with my bishop. So let's just develop, do normal development. He decides to develop too. Okay, so one virtue of this position for black is that I can't do the I can't easily do the Greek gift sacrifice. I would have to move the queen back, put the bishop here, which would interfere with the defense of the d pawn. So instead, let's just put the bishop here in castle, and we'll take it from there. So he's got the light squared bishop, which is trapped behind the pawn chain. He's got one knight developed only. His only developed piece is the knight, and it's over here on the side where it's not doing anything. So this cannot be a good opening result. I may not exploit it the rest of the game, but white should really win from here. That's just a bad opening. Okay. Enough rambling. Let's see if I can do something. I could play a4, a5, try and push this knight away. If I play a4 and he plays a5, you know, I still don't get this square because he's got a pawn on c3 or c6. So I still don't get the b5 square. I guess normal here would just be to develop the rooks. Why don't we do that? And see how he's going to break loose. So he gave me this square e5 for my knight. And if I put it there now, well, he'll probably drop his knight back to challenge it. So let's think about this. Knight e5. I assume he'll bring the other knight from b6 to d7. I could step out of the way with the queen so that when I take, there's a pin. Queen to f4. Knight d7, queen f4, knight takes knight, pawn takes knight with a double attack. Yeah, he saw that. Okay, well, you expect that. I mean, he's got a good rating, so he's going to be aware of these tactics. Now I could play a5, and if he goes a4, I could play knight to b5. But I would have to defend this pawn first. Okay, so let's start by stepping aside. I can't play knight b5 while this pawn, the e-pawn, was hanging with check. That would be, or with an attack on my queen. Now I could play knight b5. I don't even have to play a4 first, just knight b5 directly. What's the follow-up? After knight b5, the queen moves. Yeah, well, he did trade off my dark squared bishop, so that's got to be worth something. Okay, there he goes. So here, though, knight b5 could be played because when he takes my knight, I'll take his queen. So knight b5, the queen will move, but the queen can go to b6 now. If the queen goes to b6, my knight can hop into d6. Or the queen could go to a5. My knight could go here. Eventually I'll have to worry about defending these pawns on the queen side, but yeah, let's play something interesting. I guess he could just drop his queen back to yeah, I didn't think he would. I mean, he could have considered dropping his queen back to b8, but that doesn't look like the right answer. Okay, well anyway, I'm following up with knight d6, hitting the rook, hitting the bishop. I can take my knight, but my queen is defended, and I'll take back with a pawn defending my knight. Or if he takes with this knight, yeah. If he takes with this knight, I take probably his rook first. So he steps out of the way with the rook. Okay, so now I'm ganging up on the f7 square. Is that worth something? Knight takes f7. If he takes my knight, I just take back. If he takes with the rook, probably he will take with the rook, right? That's the logical thing to do there. And I will take with the knight. He takes back with the king. Then I move my queen to the side. See if I can attack this pawn. Maybe just move my bishop here right away. He is looking at my pawn on the side. Or I could take his bishop or retreat. Retreating here, hitting his queen, defending the pawn. I don't know. I want to try this line. I want to see where it goes. So he will have two he will have two knights against a rook, and he can even get a pawn back. So it won't even be. I won't even have a pawn. Might not be totally safe for him to take that pawn. I don't know. I have queen h3 hits the pawn and hits. No, it doesn't hit h7 because the knight's defending it. So probably queen to the f file threatening e5 is the bigger threat here. The move that makes the bigger threat. So he goes back with the queen. Okay, keeps me off of f4, but I can go to f3 here. Still threatening e5. He will play e5 himself. He won't play e5, but he can't. He can't play e5. That pawn is pinned. Yeah, so he moved his king to unpin, so I can chase the knight away with e5. I guess I should, although he does get a good square for his knight here, but I'm also taking squares away from his king. Yeah, so where should I play next? Queen to the g file, hitting his g pawn. Queen here, check. followed by queen here, check. I assume that he was going to play g6, but because he probably does not want my queen coming in with check. Yeah, this looks like a good situation for white here. Get my queen up with check, lift a rook, bring it over, keep his king boxed in on this side of the board. Can still go wrong, but looking good. He attacks the bishop. And gives his king an escape square. So let's take here with check. What's going to happen is he's going to drop back and defend the queen. He has to. No, queen's defended. He'll go to the back rank, threaten the queen trade. I can check again. He will come forward. Let's start with this. Hard to say which square I should check from, but I want to drive him forward with tempo. Then, so can I lift a rook, ignore the threat to the bishop? Rook here, rook over, rook down is 3 moves. 1, so I go here, he takes the bishop, I go here, and he's got to find a way to save his king. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Just rook g3 to g7. His king has no moves. Queen has very few moves. His bishop has no moves. I think I'm going to pick up some material here. Oh, and I can even take the knight back. I was assuming I was sacrificing that bishop. I forgot that the rook was defending it. Yeah, he can play that, but then the check. Where do you go? The king has no moves after the check. Oh, he defends with the knight. Yeah, pretty clever. Yeah, so I can take the queen, he takes back, and then I can take the knight, and we'll go into this endgame. His pawn is hanging over here. This is loose, but can't do anything about it at the moment. Okay, we're going for this endgame, I guess. So 2 rooks against rook, bishop, and knight, and I have an extra pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 extra pawns. So that is supposed to be good for me. Plus, you know, this pawn is hanging, and rooks in the endgame are very. As the board opens up, rooks in the endgame tend to be strong. And I'll get a passed pawn over here on the king side, it looks like. So, well, I grabbed the pawn. I guess so. And start bringing the rook in. How do I get this other rook into the game? So this is a clever move, right? The knight controls this square. Bishop defends the pawn. If he ever pushes the b pawn, I can take the c pawn. So this rook I leave here. And start bringing my king in. Ah, okay. That I don't mind so much. Okay, so I can go with check. And I think I will. I think that's a simpler way to play it. He still has a bad bishop. And I just have to not walk into any forks. Which will probably happen before too long. He decides to bring his king over. So let's keep these. Yeah, this is a tough decision here, huh? Let's bring the king forward. Bring the rook over here. Watch out for this square where the fork is, or this square where the fork is. Ah, and I've lined up my pieces on the light squared. Yeah, pretty clever. Going for the skewer. Always got to be aware of those tactical weaknesses. And bishop there, check, pick up the rook. And he'd be a piece up. So my plan of pushing this pawn forward is not going to happen because he's got the knight and the bishop, unless he moves them. And if I'm in this position, then I actually can push them forward. Okay, now the forking square is here, and there is no bishop skewer. And here. A simple way to handle this kind of thing is to keep your king and your rook on squares of opposite color. But, well, that can be hard to do all the time. It can be hard to do that all the time. Something you have to be very careful about. And sometimes you just need to move your king and rook onto squares of the same color in order to cause something else to happen, like getting the pawns rolling or something like that. So I don't know why strong players play bad openings. I think they do it because they hope to catch you off guard. But I think it's a mistaken plan. I think you should always just play good openings. Yeah, he's looking hard. He has a check. I decide to take. Yeah, maybe he couldn't see anything that would come of that check, right? Okay, so he's attacking that pawn. Let's push it forward. It was like it's a double attack here. Let's kick the knight first then. It's not succumb to the double attack. And we'll push this pawn forward. Okay, we're going to attack the knight this way. Ah, he can take... shoot. He got a pawn. Yeah, that's trouble playing strong players. They will find ways to unsettle you. So he's attacking the he is attacking the G pawn. Still have a 2-pawn lead. Rook and 2 pawns against bishop and knight. But it is getting tricky now. So he's stopping me from... there, he wants to blockade the pawns, and I want to be able to push them forward. So I'm creeping up like this. King to f5, yeah, so he's stepping out of the way. I could attack a pawn over here like this. Get my king here. So if the knight moves, I have the check. I still have the check here, right? Okay, now the pawns are on dark squares. No, they're on light squares. I'm controlling the dark squares. I want to chase his knight off of those squares. Let's see if I can get it. Has to go all the way back here. Couple steps from queening here. I don't see how he stops me now. Yeah, knights are clumsy pieces when it comes to fighting pawns, especially pawns on the rim. And his king is in the way of his bishop. Okay, so let's step back. What's his plan? Just to get the best material he has, I still get a queen, right? Okay, he decided to resign. All right, that was a nice game. I'm going to upload this one. Check it out in a postmortem and see you guys later. Bye.